Back at Cobb Stadium in Coral Gables. Time now for the starting lineups. And first it's Miami coming out, Morgan, in the 4-3-3.
Keep an eye on Emma Tucker. She plays outside back, but she's a big leader for this Miami team. She gets better game over game, a little bit more confident, and really raises the level.
Now Miami in the home white, Virginia Tech, the traveling orange, as we are just underway here on a steamy early October Thursday evening. Partly sunny skies, temperature at 80 degrees as this one kicks off. The 22nd all-time meeting between these two schools. Virginia Tech leads the series with 14 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. They've also won the last 4 get-togethers, including last year when they thumped the Hurricanes in Blacksburg by a 5-0 score. So, Morgan, the numbers would seem to indicate that this would be a one-sided game. However, if you bring psychology and emotion into it, there's some interesting circumstances conspiring that could make this game a lot more intriguing than you think.
That's a big part of the game, too. So absolutely, there's a lot of pieces in it. We talked in the open, Virginia Tech coming off their massive win against UNC. So they're flying in really high, right? They're feeling good about their performance, ranked number 24 in the nation. They feel like maybe they could be a little bit higher just with the results that they've gotten so far this year, but also a team that doesn't really want to look much at the rankings. They have other things to focus on. So coming into this game off that massive win, but then you have Miami. They didn't get the win. They didn't get any points, but they feel really confident in how they played Florida State, holding them to 1-0 against one of the nation's top attacking teams in the country. I'm very interested, though, in how it plays out in regards to who has the upper hand in that, because my initial thought is Miami may actually have the edge because, yeah, they're riding a little bit higher, but they didn't get the win. They know they have more to prove, and they know the way that they played is a standard that they can excel at and do again. At the same time, Virginia Tech will feel the same way, but they have a little bit more pressure on them, knowing they just knocked off UNC.
For Virginia Tech, this could be that classic letdown game after coming off such a huge win. The first time that they had beaten a top 5 opponent since 2013, their first win over the Tar Heels in over a decade, since way back in 2011. And now you face a Miami team that has struggled in a lot of respects so far this season. Just a record of 3 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws. So the challenge is not to have that letdown, and we spoke with Virginia Tech head coach Chugga Adair earlier today, and he said he's really been impressing upon his team the need to come out and have that attack-minded philosophy to go at them, not let up, and maintain the intensity, even though the opponent might not be of the same quality as UNC.
And Steve, I can promise you with what he told us today, they've definitely been talking about that as a team. And I guarantee you that's been the biggest point he has made to his Hokies ever since they stepped back on the field after enjoying that UNC win. It's, hey, this is the next one, and we have to keep our mentality. We have to stay focused, because it is easy to think about what you did and kind of stay in the past there. But in order to have success and to build off of it, they know they have to be focused. And I'm pretty sure Chugga has ingrained that into his team so far this week.
Virginia Tech setting up in the final third here, trying to string some passes together. And Miami, as usual, in a low block here, trying to set things up defensively. This should be a familiar pattern tonight with the Hokies enjoying the bulk of the possession. Miami, very good defensively, and that's really been their signature this season, a team that has struggled to score goals, only 6 tallies altogether on the year, so they've had to be good defensively just to maintain a level of respectability and competitiveness overall.
You're already seeing, too, Virginia Tech really pushing at this back line, trying to play in behind Miami, but it's difficult, right, because they're sitting so low in that block already. But credit the Hokies how they're coming out. They're playing a 3-5-2 tonight. They want to put pressure. They have more attacking players, so they're getting numbers forward. Just that slip ball is going to be even harder because there's not a lot of space to play in behind the back line.
The Hurricanes have lost 5 in a row. They've only scored 2 goals during that stretch as well. after starting the season rather brightly. They were unbeaten in their first 5. They have been shut out 5 separate times. So searching for the recipe for offense here, just past the midpoint of the season. Virginia Tech, meanwhile, has not struggled in the offensive categories this year. This is a team that has been hot in the final third. Their next goal will be their 30th on the year. There is Chugga Adair, their head coach in his 12th year. Spent 5 years as an associate prior to getting the head coaching position in Blacksburg. Also the all-time winningest coach in program history. Now Miami looking to counter here. That loss to Florida State for the Hurricanes, to the 7th-ranked Seminoles here on this very field last Saturday. It was their first home loss of the season, and head coach Sarah Barnes said that it was one of their better games overall despite the loss. They hung in there. They were very competitive. They defended well, created good chances offensively, and were organized, communicated. They did all the little things. They had the elements in place to pull out a result. They just didn't do it in the end, and that's the one component that's been missing. They've been in several games this season, but just finding a way to get that result and the confidence to pull it off, that's the next step for this club.
And that's a hard hurdle to jump over, because you look at the matchup and they made it difficult for Florida State, but good teams find ways to win, and sometimes it's not pretty, but you get it done. And it's not an easy thing, especially when you've been defending all game or you don't have too many opportunities. How can you take advantage of a set piece? But something that really stuck out to me that Sarah Barnes said is that game, they walked out knowing that they could compete, and that's the minimum standard. Not what they expect. That's not just the standard. That's the minimum. They know they can do even more, and they have to grow and build from that. So I think for Miami, they always make it difficult for other teams. That's their bread and butter. It's what they're really good at. But for them, it's how can that be their standard, but also add that attacking point. And it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a lot of chemistry, but also sometimes it just comes down to luck, or if you have a player on fire. And they don't have that goal score right now. I know they are looking for Chloe O'Neal just to get even more comfortable in ACC play. How can she keep her energy? How can she go 1v1? And it also helps, too, that they have Jackie Korwitz back in that starting lineup. She's a player who wants the ball and really creates a lot in that attacking third.
There is Taylor Shell sliding it down the flank. That's going to run out past Korwitz for a goal kick. Jackie Korwitz, number 16 in white, the redshirt junior from Sacramento, California. Had been out injured, just coming back recently. Led the team in goals scored as a freshman. And now, as a redshirt junior, a very integral part of this squad. So the fact that they have her back can only mean good things for this team that has been depleted, and they need every ounce of offense that they can find. There is their keeper, Melissa Dagenet, the senior from Quebec, Canada, who leads the ACC in saves this season with 50. But she's almost had to do that by necessity. She's seen a lot of shots. She's had to stop a lot of shots to keep her team competitive. And many times when a goalkeeper is down near the bottom in terms of saves, that can tend to be a good thing collectively for a team, meaning that they play good defense in front, they're scoring goals, and the team is putting up W's. For Dagenet, she has played every minute so far in goal for Miami. Very consistent presence. Does have 4 shutouts herself this year. And really has been their most important player, because it's been her shot-stopping ability that has kept them close in a lot of games where they failed to generate offense.
You can see Miami trying to play out when they're able to win the ball, but something that the Hokies are doing really well is winning it back as soon as they can. Tori Powell was able to check to the ball and lost it, and then created a turnover right away and gave them another opportunity to go forward. Miami knows their opportunity right now is when they win it. How can they keep it? And a lot of that is the pass that they're playing, but also where are the players around them? Who's working off the ball to maybe take a couple steps one way or another to open up a space? But that's why they're getting stuck a little bit in a bit of a small transition game. It's not too big yet. It's fairly small, more so in the same area.
First corner kick of the game, Emily McCarter for Virginia Tech. Lost this one high in the air to the back of the 6-yard box, and it will be headed out for a throw. This is Aino Warrenen, a sophomore from Finland. And Shell able to clear it down the flank for the Hurricanes, who have won 3 in a row coming into this game today, and they've only allowed 1 goal during that 3-game stretch as well, which is especially impressive for a team that relies so heavily on its offense. And the calling card for this squad is their ability to generate offensive chances, score goals, but they've been particularly robust defensively in the last couple of weeks as well. 29 goals on the season, just 13 allowed for the Hokies. And they're getting a lot of chances, averaging 17.5 shots per game, just about twice as many shots as their opponents. So you generate that much offense, give yourself that many opportunities, it's a numbers game, and the math will typically work out in your favor in the long run. Taylor Shell going direct over the top, but too far. Good combination coming down the wing for Tech. And the whistle goes against the visitors.
Well, that was fantastic defending from Hallie Salas for Miami. It's a good build-up from the Hokies. Tori Powell creates off the dribble after dropping in. But look at this team defending. It's Rusick at first. And then Salas just holding off that ball. Really frustrating Price there. She just can't get to it. It's fantastic defending.
Taylor Price, one of the top offensive figures on this Virginia Tech squad. Just a freshman from Ashburn, Virginia, but leading the team in points, tied for the team lead in goals with 6 so far this year. Leading the ACC among all freshmen in the conference in goals scored at this point in the year.
Well, and it's been nice adding Price onto the attacking side of things because it also alleviates some pressure from Tori Powell.
Opportunity for Tech here with Powell cutting in, cuts it back, top of the 18, and the shot is blocked. Good sequence defensively for Miami. It was Emma Tucker with the intervention to block the shot, then carrying it forward before she got knocked down.
And they've slowed the game down a bit. They did allow Virginia Tech to get numbers behind the ball, but a little bit of a spell of possession with Miami looking to build it up. But this is a really good build up from the Hokies. It's the ball coming through from Pelkowski, finding Mitchell on that end line. She gets corner, and she knocks it back to Powell. Unfortunately, it's a good touch, but really well done from Tucker closing that space. That's good from the Hokies because they move the ball in different areas. It's been very direct or on the dribble. They're able to mix it there and have the runners coming in behind.
Here's Korwitz, but the ball had gone out before she cut it back. And a goal kick for Virginia Tech. Tremendous start in the first half of the season for the Hokies. Now sitting at 9-2-1 overall, went unbeaten through their first 8. Their only losses on the entire season to some pretty good teams. Number 4 South Carolina and also to Pitt. A very good Panther squad. And it was actually the next game after that Pitt loss when they took on North Carolina State that head coach Chugger Adair said was their best entire game of the whole season. Top to bottom across the board. That NC State was such a great rebound, bounce back game. He was especially proud of the squad, the way they came back after the loss to Pitt. A chance for the Hokies here, comes down right in front of the penalty spot. Powell couldn't fully control it to get the shot away, and now here come the Hurricanes looking to counter. Jakobsdottir slides a pass. And Miami pushing numbers forward. Emma Tucker breaking the lines with the pass. Jakobsdottir again. Crafty move. Maintains possession. Rolls it with her right foot. Goes down. No call made.
Virginia Tech got really lucky here because Jakobsdottir was so crafty on the dribble. She gets by Gogol. Visage does not go in hard for this tackle. It actually hits her back leg. She has to run through that because Jakobsdottir wanted it more, and that's why she was able to get on the other side of it.
Maria Jakobsdottir, the senior from Iceland, part of the Iceland youth national team setup. Here she is again with it. Dispossessed. Virginia Tech flooding players forward. Price couldn't get a shot away. And out for the second corner for Virginia Tech. Tori Powell has looked dangerous in the early going. The junior from Haymarket, Virginia, tied for the team lead in goals with 6, along with Price, the freshman.
When they're both finding out they don't have a lot of time on the ball. There's not a lot of space in behind, and when they get it, that Miami defense is stepping collectively and closing the space, so they have to know what they're going to do with it before it even comes to their foot.
McCarter again. Another outswinger. Lofts it. Headed out. Left-footed shot. Didn't get a solid foot on it. Pelkowski this time with her right foot. And it's a goal kick. Well, our Sunday best this week will be a women's soccer volleyball quadruple header. Boston College against Louisville to start the afternoon at noon Eastern. Then 3 volleyball matches in a row. Number 9 Pitt taking on number 10 Georgia Tech, Notre Dame BC, and North Carolina State Wake Forest. All 4 right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. First game of a Thursday night doubleheader for women's soccer. Virginia Tech at Miami. And once again, here's Natalie Mitchell in space for McCarter on the far side. As the Hokies race to the box, it's a throw-in.
I like the idea of winning that ball centrally and then springing McCarter in, finding that opposite side. Obviously, that build-up slowed down a bit with the ball going out, but there's still an opportunity to build. Maybe can that ball come back out and find the other side, because look how many players are basically within a 5-10 yard space.
A lot of white shirts behind the ball. Virginia Tech knew coming in it would be a difficult squad to break down with this Hurricane defense. But this is a Hokie team that has actually played better on the road than at home so far this season. They are perfect on the road. 5 wins, no losses, no ties. They've produced 3 shutouts away from Blacksburg, and they've outscored their opponents 15-4. So very good on the road so far, and a tough conference. And now Mitchell. For Powell, looks to get it back. Plays pitch and catch. Now McCarter. Her shot blocked by Rusek and out for the third corner of this first half.
was really well done between Mitchell and Powell. It basically was the two of them just combining. Look how many players they draw together, and then Powell's able to find it wide to McCarter. There's not a lot of space, but she does a nice job of letting the ball do the work. It rolls across her body, Powell's, before she can find it wide.
Emily McCarter, the grad student from Charleston, South Carolina. This one comes in, it's punched clear, comes right back out, and the shot is blocked. Never made it through. McCarter chases it down in the corner. This will serve as basically another corner kick and headed just wide. So a couple of good chances for the Hokies, still unable to convert as we hit the 20-minute mark here in this first frame.
Pelkowski lined that one up. It didn't make it through all those players, but she had a really good strike on that ball, the way she kept it low. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, because if you can at least knock that ball in a dangerous area, Dagenais can't see anything. There's so many players in front of her. She's giving that ball a chance.
Most of their shots so far have come from at the top of the box or outside the 18 for Virginia Tech. Shadows starting to creep across the field here. Early evening in Coral Gables, Florida. On a beautiful October evening with temperatures right in the lower 80s here. But as you can see, it's kind of tight with the benches and other areas around the perimeter of this field. There's also a track, and it's something that you've noted, Morgan, that this is kind of a difficult field for some teams to come in and play on, isn't it?
It is, and part of me is now thinking how much of it is mental. I heard it so much playing, and I did feel it, especially with that track. There's something about fields that have that. I don't know if it's just it draws your eye to really the size of the field, but it's difficult. It's really hard conditions in Miami. Obviously the weather, we talk about the field size, but it's also the way Miami plays and how they get numbers behind the ball that kind of contributes with all of that.
Oh, that's a nifty move by Price. I couldn't finish in the end. Tech coming quickly here. And the shot is errant and out.
It's a really good touch to go forward. Crafty on the ball is Taylor Price. Nothing comes from it. But I love to see a young player being so confident on the ball. Matt Graham there, able to pick that one up. Nothing came from that shot either, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far from the front runners for Virginia Tech, especially when you're talking about the freshmen in Price and Mitchell.
There's Jakobsdottir for Miami, waiting for support. Finds it down the left-hand side. Two players in the box. And the first corner kick opportunity coming up for Miami now. Good work by Jackie Korwitz, the redshirt junior.
Korwitz put herself in a dangerous position. You could see she was going to knock that ball back at an angle, but it was good work defensively from McCarter and Pelkowski. The midfielders are having to do more work defensively, right? Because Virginia Tech's playing just with those three backs.
Lauren Meeks on the corner. Good delivery here, and it's grabbed by Lauren Hargrove, the sophomore goalkeeper from Richmond, Virginia. Her first significant touch of the game. Hargrove has started all but one game so far in her sophomore season for Virginia Tech. One of 4 different goalkeepers that they've used in some capacity this year. Now Warren. Good flick on to Price. Trying to set it up on her right foot. Emily McCarter gets it instead just outside the box. Soft little chip. Warren tries to keep it alive. And Taylor Shell plays it out for the Hurricanes. That's a good step defensively by Lauren Meeks. Jakobsdottir goes to ground to try and control it, and she'll be whistled for the foul. And a set piece coming up with a free kick from a rather dangerous area for the Hokies.
Well, and that's a good ball that's played out from Meeks, but unfortunately, just with the pace it comes in, Jakobsdottir doesn't have much time on the ball, and then at that point, she goes down for it. She's just, I don't actually actually think looking at it again, that looked as bad. It didn't look like she was playing on the ground there. I think it looked more so like it when we first saw it, but I don't know if I would fully agree with that after seeing the replay. But this is a very dangerous opportunity for Virginia Tech.
Natalie Mitchell standing over it. And no one making a run for Virginia Tech. I mean, there was nobody in that area for the Hokies.
That's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I thought maybe they might have assumed she was going for goal because nobody really ran onto this at all.
Well, and you're in the area, right? You can either go for goal and really put a good look on frame or send that ball in, but that's a fantastic ball sent in behind. I'm not sure if there's communication that they normally use that was off, because it did not look like the team was on the same page with that opportunity.
Mitchell leading this team in assists as a freshman from Temecula, California, also leading the team in shots this year. So halfway through this first half of play, still looking for our first goal in Coral Gables. A first half largely dominated in possession by Virginia Tech. Emma Pitting was looking for Jackie Korwitz, intercepted, however. And the Hokies take possession once again. For Miami, it's been a recurring theme this season. They spend so much time chasing without the ball that when they do get possession, how do you find a rhythm? How do you all of a sudden connect passes, have the confidence and the patience necessary to then keep it long enough to create opportunities of your own? It's a very difficult puzzle to solve, isn't it, Morgan?
That's the hardest thing to solve when you're stuck defending all the time. But what it comes down to is finding the safe passes to build a little bit of confidence, playing a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, so you're able to maintain that possession. But I mentioned this earlier, it's not just the pass, it's the team being on the same page, because sometimes you need a player to maybe take 1 or 2 steps one way so they can open up and that pass becomes a little bit easier to make, a little bit easier to receive. But that's the hardest thing, is when you're stuck defending, you have to so quickly shift into a different mindset about building forward and creating versus disrupting.
One thing, though, is that if you keep the ball and you find a way to maintain some sense of protracted possession, in a way, that's playing good defense, because you're making the opponent chase, even though you might not be creating offensive opportunities per se, but by keeping the ball, you're playing defense and not allowing a good team like a Virginia Tech, who's got so many attacking players, time to create themselves. And now an opportunity for Miami. First time really in the box, and that shot wide to the far side.
And that was one of the first times we've seen Chloe O'Neal get on the ball. She goes a little bit 1v1. I think she's still far out. Could have taken on Warren a little bit further. It's not a bad look to that far post. She looked confident with that cut, but it didn't really look like she picked her head up. I'm not totally sure if O'Neal knew where she was on the field. But Steve, going back to that comment, yeah, you're keeping the ball away from the other team. Even if you have possession, you're not actively defending, but you are, because you're keeping the ball from them. And it also gives your defense a break. For Miami, they defend a lot of the game, so if they can possess more in the midfield, you give your defenders a chance to move higher up the field.
Absolutely.
And sometimes
first
it's really
substitutions,
nice.
by the way. Yeah. And especially in warm, humid conditions like this, the more you run, the more the chase and defending can wear you out. So just to get a break from that can mean a lot down the stretch. Powell trying to turn. First substitutions coming just shy of the half-hour mark here. Just about a quarter of an hour left to go in this first half. Shot 6-1 in favor of Virginia Tech, which is certainly no surprise. It's really staggering when you look at the numbers and the disparity between these two teams. Miami for the season has 24 shots on goal. Virginia Tech has scored 29 goals. Here's Pitting for Miami. Pass too far for Jakobsdottir.
Steve, the thing that really sets Virginia Tech apart right now when it comes to that offensive side of things is, I was starting to talk about this earlier, but Tori Powell has help up top. She'd really been the main striker for the past 2 years, and they had a lot of production, more so coming out of the midfield. But this year, with the freshmen with Natalie Mitchell and Taylor Price adding on to that attacking side of things, and coming out of the middle, you still have more players adding to it. One, it alleviates some of the pressure from Powell. Also, defenders have to be more aware of other players, or if they're going to solely focus on Powell, Price and Mitchell can have a day. Or then if they go to other players, right, Powell can have a little bit more space again. So that's provided just more attacking options for the Hokies. And I think Miami has yet to have that goal scorer. Who can they look at game over game to know that we have a player who has a nose for goal, she knows how to finish, she has opportunities to finish, and she puts herself in those places. And I think that's just what Miami is missing right now when you look at the season and just that disparity with the shots and the goals.
And that's what it takes to break free of the issues that Miami has had. You can talk about formations and team philosophies all you want, but sometimes it's a simple game, isn't it? It comes down to a matter of individual moments, brilliance, quality, one player just making a play. Just making a play to get you out of a rut you may be stuck in or something. And they're still searching for that. They're looking for that player to make that play to give them some confidence.
And it takes a special player. It takes somebody who, one, wants to have that pressure and wants to be that person, and two, has the skill and the ability to do it in the ACC. That's not easy. So there's multiple factors within that. But yeah, there's times you might have a team that is struggling in other places, but if they have one goal scorer, they're going to be in every single game. Or you might have a team that makes it really difficult for their opponents, is going to get wins in their conference, but maybe struggles to score. And that just means they have to be tighter in every other line, in every other way, to make sure that they are fully in the game when they might be struggling to find the back of the net.
Hurricanes looking a little better here, getting some possession, working the ball forward, connecting passes. This is Pitting. Cuts it in onto her left foot, slides it across. A shot is blocked, but creating an opportunity there, even though Virginia Tech did have numbers back, but forcing them to clear out of their own end for the first time, really.
Well, and Cerna's the one who gets the ball forward to Pitting, and Pitting's not afraid. She's that player. She'll go 1v1, gets into that attacking third, and she stays with it when that ball's in the air. But this happened in a previous game. When Cerna comes in, she brings a little bit more of an attacking mindset to Miami onto their back line. So she gives a little bit more width and adds a little bit more going forward, which is different than what Virginia Tech has seen in this first 33-ish minutes.
Well, here's a look at our Week 6 college football lineup Saturday on the ACC Network, as Virginia will be hosting Louisville at noon Eastern. Then Virginia Tech in Pittsburgh to take on the Panthers is next before the day is closed off with our ACCN primetime matchup. Florida State facing off against number 14 North Carolina State in Raleigh at 8. It's here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. 34th minute. First half, no score. Coral Gables. Miami against Virginia Tech. Sophie Maltese just coming in for the first time here today, replacing Taylor Price. Another Taylor also coming in, Brian, for Tori Powell. So the two top offensive players, Powell and Price, getting a break here in the final quarter hour of this first half. Warren going 1v1 with Pitting. And Cerna, good defensively in a 1v1 situation, forcing Virginia Tech into a corner.
When George is able to get that ball on her foot, gets it on a half turn, going forward towards Cerna, but Cerna's really solid on that back line. You don't always want to sub your outside backs, but she does a good job bringing something different to the game when she steps in, but then also is really solid just on the back line.
Ariana Serna, the sophomore from Las Vegas. Coming up on the final 10 minutes of this first half in South Florida. First corner kick from this side for the Hokies in this first half. Line drive, headed out, and that time it'll be a goal kick. Well, actually, they're going to say it's another corner. So it was deflected as Allie George went up to make contact here, but was deflected at the end there, so they'll do it once more. Gabby Johnson, a grad student from Midlothian, Virginia, headed up and out. As we get inside the final 10 minutes of the first frame, what's your overall assessment so far, Morgan, of the way this one has unfolded versus the expectations you had coming in?
I think I've seen Virginia Tech create more chances than I expected. I knew they would create some, but I was really impressed just with the front group that we saw and what they did when there wasn't a lot of space in behind the back line. And then on the flip side with Miami, I expected to see them come out defensively sound. I expected them to have that tight unit, but they've been really committed to it. And I've also been impressed with how they've had a few opportunities to build out. I think they could do a little bit better just with taking care of the ball so they can create more in the run of play. I don't expect them to play direct all the time, but I would love to see them hold on to the ball a little bit more and make Virginia Tech defend them. Their goal is to play in Virginia Tech's defensive end. They want to be higher up the field, so I'd love to see them possess a little bit more there and just have some more composure.
And that's a foul against the Hokies here. So both clubs with several substitutions here as we work our way towards the final minutes of this first half. Interesting that both Price and Powell come out at the same time for Virginia Tech. Two top offensive players. In your mind, would it be better to leave at least one in as you're looking for that first goal, or do you mind the proposition of bringing them both out at the same time for a rest?
Well, I think putting Taylor Bryan in, she's been playing fantastic. She's creating opportunities up front, so you're definitely putting her in. And my thought, too, is by bringing both of them out, I have a feeling Chugger's wanting to talk to both of them together to get them on the same page, because they are the two front runners. You need them to be connected and on the same page. So I had a feeling it's more so a conversation by bringing them out and giving them a little bit more time just to get on the same page. And put Taylor Bryan in, give her the opportunity. Gabby Johnson's coming in. It's enough time to where your subs coming on the field can make an impact, but not too much time for your starters not to be on the field.
And they have a free kick coming up here.
And it's Bryan who goes in for the tackle.
First yellow card issued here this evening. First caution going to Haley Salas. That's a good tackle. Good win. Michaela Tupper trying to do something with it. Ran out of space and ran out of time.
Lauren Gogol did a really good job defensively in the middle, because the way her body was positioned, she looked like she was going to get beat from Tupper, but she was able to get a step in to tackle.
Oh, here's a giveaway. Jakobsdottir for Tupper. Back to Maria Jakobsdottir. And a corner kick as the cross is blocked. Jakobsdottir's been involved in a lot of the offensive moves so far for the home side.
Well, and this is really well done from Pitting. That's exactly where the Canes want to pick that ball off. They're in a dangerous area, but that ball from Tupper, if it's a little bit shorter, you're going to give Jakobsdottir a little bit more time to get on it, but she's chasing it at that point. Her angle's off. They still have another opportunity, but that's very promising for the Canes. Can they continue to do that with that press? Because they had so many numbers getting forward.
First corner from this side, and they find the back of the net, the low line drive, and against the run of play, Miami takes the lead here at home, 1-0 in the first half.
And it's Adriana Serna who just gets off the goalkeeper and does enough just to get in the way. She gets a touch on it. She creates enough chaos so that Harding is not able to see that ball. That is well done. Ever since she came in this game, she's made an impact getting forward. Obviously, that win in transition that created this corner kick opportunity, that's a fantastic goal for Miami because that's what they wanted to do tonight. That's what they knew they needed to, and they were able to capitalize on that chance.
First goal of the season for Ariana Serna, the sophomore from Las Vegas. And Miami with just their 7th goal this season, but yet leading this Virginia Tech side in the 40th minute now of this first half. Miami has been outshot, but their second shot of this first half is the biggest one so far, the only one that's gone in.
Well, and Steve, Sarah Barnes told us we need to win the ball in Virginia Tech's defensive third because we will be closer to goal. They did that. They created the corner. If they had set pieces, they needed to take advantage of those. They did exactly that. And I think that's what the result against Florida State and the way that they played, that's the confidence that built because they knew the things they had to do and it gave them confidence to execute it. So it's a really good goal and just to build up the whole sequence for Miami. And it also took about a minute total, maybe 30 seconds. That's how quickly a team can capitalize, especially when they're on the same page and they're doing what they're wanting to do, what their game plan said.
And don't underestimate the quality of the corner kick. That low line drive sometimes catches keepers and defenders out of position, and it's just something they're not expecting. Usually you are anticipating either a line drive through the air or some kind of floated ball, and if you keep it low like that, you can at least give yourself an opportunity, create a little chaos, and maybe just get that touch in front of the goal, which is exactly what they got.
Well, in the way that that ball was played in, it was right in front of Hargrove, right where her defender was on the near post too. So goalkeeper's expecting to come out, defender's expecting goalkeeper to grab that, but then you have Serna making chaos in there as well. So it's just not very clear, but you're exactly right. If you put that ball in a dangerous place, that can usually happen, and sometimes that's the smarter decision rather than knocking it in the air and trying to find the far post or trying to find your runners coming in. Put the ball in a dangerous area and then have your runners react to it.
All of a sudden, the Hokies in a tough spot now because Miami, during normal circumstances, is typically a tough team to break down defensively, but now that they have the first goal here at home, could be even more so. But you can tell the Hurricanes growing in confidence with the ball and in possession here in the last 20 minutes or so of this first half as well. Good change of fields. Now Pitting. Jakobsdottir, the overlapping run. Tupper now on it, looking to create. Pitting again. Runs right into a Tech player. And the Hokies trying to get some players forward here as they look to equalize in the final minutes of this first half. But a giveaway in the middle of the pitch, allowing the Hurricanes another chance to move it forward. Pitting again, finding Jakobsdottir, but just a little too heavy on the pass. Good idea and good run by the Icelandic player Jakobsdottir.
Well, it's a really good run from Jakobsdottir, and Pitting sees her just a little bit too much on that, and Hargrove does a nice job coming off her line quickly because she had to move quick. Jakobsdottir was right there.
Nobody tracking the run defensively for Virginia Tech. And if that pass is just a little more on point, she's in all alone. Inside the final 2 minutes, first half. Jakobsdottir has been very dynamic and very active offensively for Miami so far here in this first half of play. Clock stopped. I don't know if we have a scoreboard issue or something of that nature here. And now set to resume. Virginia Tech, perfect on the road so far this season. 5 wins, no losses, no ties, but trailing 1-0 here at Miami. Final minutes, first half. And the Hurricanes looking like the better team right now here at the end of this first half. Almost a giveaway. Serna, the goal scorer, has that clearance blocked. Delaney Brown coming in here. Gabriela Rusek going out just a moment ago. As the rotations continue, players getting a breather here near the end of the first frame.
There's been a lot of stoppages in the last few minutes, really since that goal. So I feel like we've either been stopped or Miami's had just the momentum. They've done a really good job of getting back into the game when that ball's in play. And I definitely think Miami, the goal woke them up a little bit more and just gave them even more confidence going forward. Because even when they're defending, they look like they're ready to step forward, like they're ready to attack.
The Hokies had all the possession early on, creating chances, several shots on goal. But here, in the last 15 to 20 minutes, it's been largely Miami controlling possession and capitalizing with one of their few legitimate shots on goal. Now for Chugga Adair, what is going to be the message to his squad here in the locker room in the next few seconds when we get there?
He's not going to be happy with this team. They definitely had opportunities early. How can they capitalize on that, but also defensively? They just have to be aware it's a miscommunication. That's what led to that goal. It has to be tighter.
Halftime in Coral Gables at Cobb Stadium. The Miami Hurricanes looking for their first ACC win of the season, and it's Ariana Serna, the sophomore, who has the only goal of the game so far. Off a corner kick for the Hurricanes, and after 45 minutes, it's Miami 1 and Virginia Tech 0. 45 minutes in Miami with the Hurricanes leading the Hokies 1-0. Virginia Tech head coach Chugga Adair, the native of San Diego, but no Southern California cool, I would imagine, in the locker room at the break. Morgan, you've been in those halftime talks when the team has not been playing all that well, or at least not up to their standards. What do you think was the message from Chugga to the squad here during the intermission?
I think the biggest message is the result of that first half is they did not capitalize on their chances. And unfortunately, that goal against was due to their own miscommunication. So it's something that is definitely controllable, but for them, it's how can they control the controllables? And now they also have even more to get over because Miami doesn't have to score again. They can sit in a low block if they want to. So how do they break down Miami, who's going to be even more defensive?
Steve Schlanger, Morgan Bowen. Glad to have you with us here on this early Thursday evening. Warm night in South Florida, temperature right around 80 degrees for this early October matchup. 22nd all-time get-together between the Hokies and the Hurricanes. It has been a series that Virginia Tech has dominated, winning 14 times, including each of the last 4 in succession. Last year, they really spanked the Hurricanes 5-0 in Blacksburg, but they are the ones trailing here at the outset of the second half here tonight in Coral Gables, as Virginia Tech tries to keep their winning streak alive and win for the 4th straight time overall this season, while Miami hoping to put to bed a 5-game losing streak at this point in the year. Cross comes in, back post a little bit too far, and it will roll out for a goal kick for Miami. One thing that Virginia Tech did do in the last 15 to 20 minutes of that first half, Morgan, they took out a few of their top offensive players, like the freshman Taylor Price and the junior Tori Paul, each tied for the team lead in goals with 6. And they got a breather through the end of that first half, but back out there now to start this second half.
Well, and both teams made adjustments coming out in the second half. Virginia Tech is still in that 3-5-2, but Gabby Johnson's playing on that right side now, where she subbed into that position in the first half. And then Miami kept a couple of their substitutes who came onto the field in. Also Serna, she came in on that right back position, did a great job defensively and getting forward, obviously adding the goal. So she stays in, as well as Megan Morgan, and a few other players. So a couple changes from both sides, and what that shows me is that Sarah Barnes was really happy with the second half of that first half performance, and they're trying to continue with that momentum.
Yeah, in that first half, Virginia Tech had 6 shots overall, but none came in the final 22 minutes, while Miami had 3 shots, but none came in the first 27 minutes. So really that classic story of a tale of 2 halves, the way things unfolded there in the first 45 minutes. All Hokies early on and then dominated largely by the Hurricanes late. It'll be curious also to see what this Miami team does strategically, given the fact that they do like to sit back in the low block, but they were so effective in possession going forward at the end of that first half. If they might continue to employ that, not only to keep the ball and maybe try to create more offensive opportunities, but as a means of playing good defense against this Virginia Tech team as well.
Well, and defensively, Rusick just did a really nice job of winning that ball back defensively for Miami, because she actually gave it up. She had a bad pass into the midfield. She tracked it down, was able to win it back. That's what Miami's trying to limit, the giveaways in their defensive third, but you have to love the response from the player who gave that ball up.
It's a good move by Mackenzie Graham. And eventually it winds up, though, as a Miami throw-in.
There's a big difference in the body language of these two teams right now. Miami came out looking like they won that first half, which they did. They have a little bit more of that energy and that confidence about them. Virginia Tech coming out, some of the players, the body language is just a little bit more negative and more reactive versus actually being on the front end and creating those opportunities versus reacting to them.
Now Natalie Mitchell lost it. Now Julia Edwards finding space. There's Megan Morgan, who had that corner kick that Serna scored off of in the first half. Now Lauren Meeks with daylight. Now, but just a pass lacking in the end, and allowing a counter-attacking opportunity for Virginia Tech here. Space through the middle as Mitchell once again leads the charge forward. Natalie Mitchell using her pace and finding Gabby Johnson. Mitchell on the turn, well defended. Flooding players forward, shot is blocked. Serna the goal scorer. Taking care of things defensively as well. Something that Miami did really well early on in that first half, weathering the offensive onslaught from Virginia Tech and blocking a lot of shots, and also surviving here.
I would love to see Tori Powell keep this ball on the ground, because Johnson has a great turn. She faces forward, and Powell started running there. Johnson was able to find her. It's a really nice slip ball in, but the way that Powell's first touch takes her away from frames, just gets under the ball.
Tori Powell, the junior. ACC all-freshman team, her first year in Blacksburg. Also the ACC Offensive Player of the Week coming into this week after getting the game-winning goal in that victory over number 3 North Carolina at home last Saturday. First time that the Hokies had beaten UNC in over a decade, and their first win over a top 5 team since 2013. Now trying to back it up with a win on the road against Miami, looking for their first goal. And getting frustrated here.
And I love that this ball gets out wide to Pelkowski, because she was open, but it actually hits the back side of the post that's out of bounds. Virginia Tech needs to be a little bit more clinical in the final third. I think they're rushing it right now because Pelkowski was open. If that ball can get to her a second sooner, she can have a cleaner touch and even take space before she's playing that ball in.
So far, the only losses this season for Virginia Tech to number 4 South Carolina and to Pitt in conference. Have not lost away from home, but needing to come from behind to keep that streak alive here today. The Hurricanes, in search of their first ACC win of this season, had only won all of last season as well. They're trying to build from the ground up here in Miami. Sarah Barnes in her 5th year as the head coach after spending half a dozen years as the head coach at GW, where she was an Atlantic 10 Coach of the Year. Trying to grow into this season. Offense has been struggling. Defense has been pretty firm and robust. Just trying to create more chances, give themselves an opportunity. Now with 7 goals on the season, including the one in the first half here tonight. 7 goals from 7 different players. Only shot on goal in the entire first half. And it makes the difference right now. 1-0 is the lead. Opportunity for the Hurricanes here. Megan Morgan. And she falls down in the 1v1 battle here. Good dummy by Jordan Felton. Kicks straight up into the air. Here's Felton again. Dispossessed. Tori Powell, though, has it deflected off of Emma Tucker and out for a Virginia Tech throw. Now Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, the ACC Huddle Crew gets you set for another full day of football. They've also got halftime shows and post-game shows throughout the day. And at 6:30, you get a complete wrap-up of the afternoon games before you get prime for the evening affair. And the primetime matchup this week, Florida State at North Carolina State on the ACC Network at 8 p.m. All right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. 55th minute in Coral Gables. That's a pretty good first touch there, but again, the cross is out and the end product has been missing for Virginia Tech offensively here this evening.
And Virginia Tech is doing the hard things well, but not the easy things. It's a great ball sent in from Dory Haugen. And this touch from Pelkowski is right on her foot, right in the run of play, but that left foot just sends that ball out. She also doesn't really have an angle, so it's tough to knock that ball in the line of play.
Here's Korwitz trying to play one through the channel. Now Virginia Tech just not enjoying that long spell of possession and offensive chances in the final third that we saw through about the first 20 minutes of that first half. Miami turned things around about midway through, and that pattern has continued into the second half here as well. Serna can't quite get to it, and now has to try and recover defensively. 2v3 for the Hokies. And now Megan Morgan has space on the wing. Transfer from Florida State gives it up, though. Natalie Mitchell against Emma Tucker. Mitchell looking for some support, but loses the ball instead. That's a nice job to win it back. There's nobody inside the 18 for Virginia Tech to get on the end of it. This time they'll try from the left. Warren serves it in, headed out. Best sequence in a while for the Hokies, and that shot right into the arms of Melissa Dagenet.
That was the best sequence, and honestly, I think the best part of that was the movement from Warren on the left side and the way that she was able to bring the ball back across before serving it in. And I'm not upset with the fact that Matt Graham looks to put that ball on frame. As an outside back, she's right outside the box. Let that ball go. But maybe can she take a little bit more space because nobody really stepped to her. Something, though, that I keep seeing the front runners for Virginia Tech, they're really playing in these small spaces. And it's high level, the way that they're moving the ball around, but just the final piece, they don't have a lot of space and they're looking to get a shot off when there's a player right in front. Or looking to just cross the ball blindly and not really looking at runs to see how they can make it more of a higher percentage of connecting with another teammate on a cross.
Warren getting wide here, the sophomore from Finland, part of the Finnish youth national team setup. Warren on many occasions has competed against Victoria Haugen, her teammate for Virginia Tech, but Haugen playing for Norway, so the Scandinavian rivalry has been in full effect between Warren and Haugen. Dagenet serve this one long. Felton on the turn. Now Megan Morgan looking for options in the box. And didn't get the run from Meeks. Coming into this game tonight, Miami, which gets the steal here. And now Meeks the shot, and it caroms off the post and in. Bad giveaway from Virginia Tech, and Miami capitalizing to take the 2-0 lead. And Hargrove watching it all the way as Lauren Meeks scores for the second time this season.
Lauren Meeks is able to pick that ball up in such a dangerous area. Miami is capitalizing on what they wanted to do. She just picks the ball off. It gets stuck under Gogol. It's a great first touch to put her in the place she needs to be and just dribbles forward and gets that one past Hargrove. Well done from Meeks. This goes back to another part of that game plan for Miami, and they are executing, doing what they needed. They wanted to win the ball in Tech's defensive third. It led to their first goal off the corner. The giveaway that led to the corner, and they're able to do it again. Well done for Miami.
Well, the giveaway, first of all, in the middle by Virginia Tech, and then kind of puzzled that Hargrove didn't even dive for that one. I don't know if she thought it was going wide, but didn't even make an attempt on it. That one bounces around, comes to Warren in the box for Virginia Tech. The Hokies really up against it now against this very good defensive-minded team from Miami that leads 2-0 here in the 60th minute.
Steve, this is exactly what Virginia Tech was worried could happen after such a big win. That's what we talk about. You have such a big win. You're happy about what happened. You're focusing on all the positives. But it's so easy to not come out fully ready for the next game. And they had a good start to the first half. Virginia Tech did. That first 20 minutes, they had possession, had opportunities, but then something changed and they've been flat ever since. Even coming out in the second half, the body language wasn't great. They were flatter than they needed to be. The response to the giveaway in the middle of the field from the whole team is not what you need it to be. When you give the ball away in the defensive third, everyone should be tracking back, putting pressure on that ball. And Meeks was able just to dribble it in, dribble forward, and then get a look on frame.
Do you think that this is in any way related to the UNC game, that they are flat because of that? Or is this just something that's a one-off standalone? They're flat because they're flat just on the night.
I think UNC is a factor in that. Would that be the main reason and the only reason? I would say no. I think if Virginia Tech scored and capitalized early on in the game when they had a lot of those attacking opportunities, I think we would see a different team right now. But there's also still time. You still got about a third of the game left. There's still opportunity. But I have been so impressed, Steve, with the way that Miami has a game plan, how they stick to it. You and I called the Pitt game. They made it so difficult for Pitt to play in that first 45 minutes. Second half didn't go how they wanted. But when they have an idea and a game plan, they stick to it as a team. And they have capitalized on every single chance that they had an opportunity to pick that ball off in a dangerous place. And they knew that would give them the biggest opportunity in this game. I've been so impressed with that.
And perhaps an opportunity for more. Emma Tucker with the pass that bounces around before it's finally cleared. Miami with only 2 shots on goal in this entire game. Both of them have found the back of the net. 2-0 is the lead for the Canes.
And what else have we been saying with Miami? How can they capitalize on the chances that they get? They might not get a bunch. 2 shots on goal, 2 goals. You can't get better than that if you're only going to have a few chances. I'm really impressed just with the team effort.
Pretty efficient, I would say.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And for the first time, with Meeks scoring that goal, she becomes the first Miami player this season to have more than 1 goal on the year. And she's got 2. And they'll get a corner kick here. Well, it's a trend that started a little more than midway through the first half, but Miami, since that point, has really been the better team.
Something, too, to take note of, Tech obviously still has those 3 defenders. We've been saying that, but Meeks, when she won that ball, she had a lot of space. It was Gogol, the central midfielder, sliding over to try to put pressure. The back line has to be a little bit tighter between Graham, Haugen, and Visage. They have to see those runners because Miami is now more confident. They're sending players forward, trying to find those pockets in the middle.
Their first goal came off a corner kick. Meeks delivering this one. And the foul against Miami. Corwitz whistled here.
Corwitz did not look happy with that. And if I'm her, I feel the same exact way. It's unfortunate because the 2 Hokie players run into each other, but it looks like they called Corwitz for the foul, and she actually didn't do a thing.
And then Hargrove, the keeper for Virginia Tech, ran into the 2 defenders.
I would be the first one to say that I did not foul when I definitely did. So if I were Corwitz in that situation, I would be very frustrated knowing that I actually didn't do anything.
Here is Meeks looking for the brace. Hargrove has to play it with her feet here. Dangerous back pass. Now Jordan Felton has some daylight. Felton into the box. Chips it to the back post. And it's 3-0 Miami. What a run for the Hurricanes. Catarina Molina. Her first goal of the season. And the Canes are pulling away.
This run going forward was really good from Felton. Molina in the right place where she needs to be. But what got Felton on the ball here was the ball played out from the goalkeeper. She should have never had that ball at her foot. Defensively, the better decision has to be made to just play it wide. Don't put your goalkeeper in that situation. But well done for Miami. 3rd time, they're capitalizing on those mistakes from the Hokies and putting the ball away.
And where's the defense on the backside? Molina wide open, plenty of time to take the measure of that one and make sure she put it away. 65th minute here in Miami. And the Hurricanes, a surprising lead of 3-0. So consider this, they came into this game with only 6 goals for the entire season. They have half that total here tonight alone now. Perhaps this was the type of night that they've been building towards and waiting for. A signature type of performance and potentially a win over a top 25 team. Also has to be nice for head coach Sarah Barnes to see that 2 of the 3 goals have been scored by players getting their first goals of the season, adding some depth to their offensive resources. Here's Taylor Price between defenders, loses possession. Ina Warren muscled off the ball. Now the confidence, the rhythm, and just the execution is something that this Miami team has been in short supply of for the majority of this season. And it's something that we've talked about on a few different occasions. How could they find it when you're playing so much defense and you're just not having a lot of success? And sometimes you have to validate and prove it to yourself before you can really feel it on the pitch. And this is the type of game where they're starting to feel it finally.
Well, and it's also an example that, yeah, you might defend a lot in a game. Miami's not defending as much as they did in a lot of the first half, but you're still going to have opportunities, and you can flip that. You can win the ball in dangerous areas. That's what they've been committed to doing, and they've done it 3 times. 3 shots on goal, 3 goals. It's possible, but it just comes down to a team having a plan and sticking to it, and also knowing that if we stick to it, we can get a result. A coach doesn't just throw something to the wall and hope it works. There's a reason why they have a plan. There's a reason why they prep their team a certain way. And I think for Miami, it's almost been waiting for that opportunity. The result the game that they just came out of with that result 1-0 versus Florida State, they are able to limit chances for teams. It was just the final piece, like we've been saying. Can they get on the board? And I think tonight's a great example of what happens when they're clicking and they're getting on the board in all of the opportunities that they have.
Multiple substitutions for Virginia Tech, including Taylor Bryant coming in now. And another harmless cross. That's collected by Dagenais. Working on what would be her 5th shutout of the season if the score holds. As Bryant comes in for Tori Powell again. It's been Price and Powell, the 2 most prolific offensive players this season for Virginia Tech, but they just haven't found a lot of success here tonight. Taylor Price and Tori Powell, each with 6 goals on the year, but they have been frustrated on the road here in South Florida. Now think about that both Price and Powell came into this game each with as many goals individually as Miami had as a team. But boy, how things can change. Maria Jakobsdottir also coming back in for Jordan Felton. And Jakobsdottir once again has hit a very solid, consistent game. She has been part of their offensive buildup on many occasions.
Jakobsdottir has also been part of the buildups. She's a player that draws your attention. So she's been part of the buildup even when she hasn't actually been on the ball or actually received the ball. She's a player you have to know where she is because she's busy, and her movement can draw defenders out of the way. So she supports her team in the buildup in that way as well.
And those runs that she has been making right here to try and get onto the end of that one have been very important, and it's something that can sometimes go unnoticed. It's not a big stat that you look at in the numbers at the end of the game, but when you have players like Jakobsdottir who are active, who do make those runs, who drag defenders all over the place, what it also does is it forces defenders to make decisions, which way to go, who to cover. Hokies looking for something here to happen offensively, but again, another shot blocked at the top of the 18, something we've seen a lot of by the Hurricanes defensively here tonight.
Well, and you've also seen that a lot tonight because there's been a lot of shots that have been settled for in further places. So, yes, the Canes have done a great job blocking the shots far from goal, but there's also been opportunities that Tech's settling just to play that ball from far out.
Space for the Hurricanes to work into the final third here. Jakobsdottir will spin onto this one. Cross is blocked and will go out for a Miami corner. Well, our Sunday best this week will feature a women's soccer volleyball quadruple header. Boston College against Louisville will start the afternoon. That's in the soccer department, and then volleyball with a triple header after that. And it's all on the ACC network and the ESPN app. Cross comes in, headed down and cleared out. Now Taylor Shell for the Hurricanes. Emma Pinning. Jakobsdottir didn't miss by much.
The way that this ball comes across the middle all the way to Jakobsdottir, and she has enough time to get a good touch on the ball, pick her head up, and then play it. And mind you, it went across the middle of the field twice because Pitting was on it first, but it's got to be tighter defensively from the Hokies, but really well done from Jakobsdottir. I mean, she had time to look up and let that ball go. She really didn't miss by much.
South of 20 minutes left to go here in South Florida. Morgan, you mentioned a few moments ago that Virginia Tech offensively has been settling for shots from outside the box with all of their offensive weapons that they have, as Pitting works it creatively here to keep possession for Miami. Why haven't the Hokies been more creative, dynamic, created more chances offensively as the flag goes up for offsides?
Well, I think they were having success early on, and they did it a little bit too in the second half, but it's finding the ball in small pockets. I've been impressed with the front runners, not just with what they create on the attacking end, but their ability on the ball and just having the awareness to see those spaces, to see the lines, because there's not a lot of space with how Miami is playing defensively. But I think they've gotten away from that a little bit. I also think early on in the first half, we were seeing a lot of the forwards check to the ball. Tori Powell was coming to get the ball around midfield and turning and having options. We didn't see that as much. But I think that's also due to just where Tech was playing a lot with the ball. Where were they starting to build from? So more so the runs were going away versus coming to. So there just haven't been as many opportunities to combine.
Trying to create an opportunity here. And another shot is blocked, this time inside the penalty box. No call made, though. Lauren Gogol using her power and strength to try and get a shot away. Now check that Sophie Maltese. Sophie Maltese on that one.
Maltese takes her players on. She had to turn and then go at the back line.
The Hurricanes not allowing much time and space around the top of the 18. Now Pitting with daylight here. Meeks, who had the second of the 3 goals, back for Pitting. No hurry to go forward. No need to at the moment. Is content to knock it around a little, but that's an ill-advised long attempted pass there. Unnecessary giveaway. And now Warren plays it down the flank. Line drive cross. And no one there to run it down backside for Virginia Tech. McCarter the closest to it, but couldn't quite get there. Virginia Tech in danger of watching their 3-game winning streak go by the boards here. Winning 3 successive games coming into this contest here tonight and allowing only 1 goal over that stretch. But They've allowed 3 to the Hurricanes here tonight at Cobb Stadium. Tupper turning, but the pass too far for Pitting. With a quarter of an hour left to go. And the foul whistled against the Hokies here. Lauren Meeks, the one taken down. Call made on Taylor Bryan, the junior from Brooklyn.
The ball that was played into Taylor Bryan from Dory Haugen was one of the best entry balls we've seen from Tech tonight. It's the run coming from Bryan, wanting that one. But she's defended so tightly. It was Rusick behind Bryan, so by the time she looked to face up, that space was closed. But I really like that ball from Haugen, all the way from the back line, skipping the midfield, so breaking that line and finding Taylor Bryan.
Yeah, a lot of times those long passes don't find their intended target. They're intercepted ahead of time, or they're just off the mark. So that one was one of the few that got through and turned out to be an excellent opportunity to try and start an offensive sequence before Bryan was whistled for the foul. Now Taylor Shell for Miami here. Molina, who has the 3rd goal, launches the shot high and wide. Now the 2nd game of our doubleheader coming up next. Florida State facing Virginia once we are through from here at Cobb Stadium in Coral Gables. Another Thursday doubleheader of women's ACC soccer. Always one of the toughest, if not the toughest, women's conference in the country. So much individual talent, collective strength, just depth at just about every school. And also, how about the women's showpiece coming up tomorrow night at Wembley, as you have the U.S. taking on England, the world champions, against the reigning European champions. That should be a fun game, and a game that sold out in just a couple of hours. So it shows you the appetite for the women's game, not just here in the U.S., but over in Europe as well these days.
It's going to be a fun one to watch, too. An environment like that, to have the women's game, and knowing it's going to be such a great crowd and everything, it's really cool for the women's game.
Substitutions in large quantity for both squads here as we go back to the 2nd goal, first by Meeks, as she caroms that one in off the post. And then Molina, her first goal of the season. They just about put this one out of reach. 3-0 now the score. It's one of those games that just defies the numbers, the patterns, and the things we've seen develop so far this season. But it's also one of those games, as both coaches told us earlier this week, that can happen here in the ACC. They're always mindful of and watching out for. Head coach Sarah Barnes for Miami felt that her club was ready for a performance like this and potentially a result such as this. And Chugga Adair for Virginia Tech on the lookout and wary that a potential letdown or just an off night could be coming after the way they've been winning so regularly so far this season.
And off nights happen. It does. And obviously you don't want them to happen, or you don't want them to happen at certain points in the season, but it's part of the game. You can't be on all the time. But I think what's a little bit worrying for Virginia Tech is just how flat they became in the game. I wouldn't say how they came out, but how flat they came out in the 2nd half, especially after having that time to regroup. You know, Chugger let them know what he was thinking. You know, he made some adjustments. We saw a few changes in regards to who was on the field in the 2nd half for the Hokies, so I think that's a bit surprising. But I think the biggest thing for Miami is they've been impressive tonight. They capitalized when they needed to. Also, their first 3 goals were their first 3 shots on goals. They've continued to create opportunities from there. But for them, it's how can they build off the result from Florida State? They're doing it right now. How can they build off of this performance? Because they don't just want to be a team that's hard to beat and has a few upsets. They want to be a team that can compete and get results year over year, game over game. So I think that's going to be the biggest piece for them, is how can they take this and replicate it and get another result game over game versus maybe, getting a result here or there and surprising teams and upsetting teams. No, they can be a team that can compete and actually get results game over game. So how do they do that?
Inside the final 10 minutes here, Hokies looking to get on the board here. And this is a team that just doesn't get shut out. But now, Miami looking to go up 4-0 here, and just inches wide from doing so. Breaking free into space, Michaela Tupper almost made it 4-0.
Well, and Tupper made this run from her side of half field. She was on the ball. That's a far run. That space is closing, and that ball just squeaked by the post.
Now Virginia Tech still trying to create, and that finally helps them pay it off as they get the goal to finally get on the board. Allie George, the sophomore from Louisville, gets the header to finally find the back of the net and reduce the deficit to 2.
And that was a statement that had been missing. But it's a great ball sent in with that left foot. George knows exactly where she needs to be. She just beats her player. It's Veith using that left foot. That's a fantastic goal from George. Looking at it more and more, you just see how she beat her player to the near post, got down low to connect with that ball. Well done from Allie George.
And it was Emma Tucker who was the defender. It looked like she was going up, and she's the player down now. It looked like she was trying to clear it with her foot instead of her head, and that allowed George to just beat her ahead of the ball arriving. And so now Emma Tucker, the senior from Florida, slow to get up.
Tucker comes down really poorly. That's awkward the way that she lands, because she did go up with her leg, but George is so low there winning the ball that it's just awkward. You hate to see that for a player.
And especially someone like Emma Tucker, who's been so reliable and so durable. I mean, she's played every game the last 3 seasons, has not missed a beat, has been terrific, one of their best individual players this season, and one of the reasons their defense is so tough to play against.
She's someone that Sarah Barnes was saying game over game makes our team better. She makes those around her better. She gets more confident. And that's a big statement for somebody, like you said, who has played in so many games over her career.
And she will hobble off here.
I hate that injuries are part of this game. If there's one thing that I despise about this game that I love so much, it's that injuries can happen and it can be such a dangerous game.
Oh, this would be a tough loss if, for whatever reason, it's something serious that keeps her out for an extended period of time, because she's such a valuable part of that back line for Miami. So they go from leading 3-0 to conceding their first goal, potentially losing Tucker to an injury here in the final minutes. And Virginia Tech finding life here late with the goal from Allie George. Her second of the season, was the Louisville Area High School Player of the Year coming out of Kentucky. Her high school team was #1 in the nation at one point, and Miami trying to get it back. This is Pitting. Some miscommunication in the overlapping run. And a throw in for the Hokies, who are not conceding anything here. They're finding some urgency here late in this game. Now here's our Week 6 college football lineup. That'll be this Saturday on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. It's Virginia hosting Louisville at noon Eastern. Then the second game, Virginia Tech in Pittsburgh to take on the Panthers before the ACCN primetime matchup features Florida State in Raleigh to take on number 14 North Carolina State. That's 8 p.m. for the finale this Saturday. Our triple header on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Final half dozen minutes in South Florida. 3-1, Miami over Virginia Tech here. Miami leading 1-0 at the half. 2 second-half goals gave them the 3-0 lead. Allie George just connecting for the first time tonight for the Hokies to make it a 2-goal game here. The time running out for the visitors now at Cobb Stadium. After this game tonight, Virginia Tech continues on the road. They've got a tough challenge coming up at Clemson this Sunday. Miami also heads out on the road to play at Wake Forest on Sunday. First of back-to-back games away from South Florida for this Hurricane squad, but hoping to take the confidence and the victory with them as they look to hang on here tonight over number 24 Virginia Tech. Here in these last few minutes, the Hokies not giving up, still trying to find a way forward, but Miami, to their credit, they're not also sitting back. They're not parking it in front of their own goal. They're still trying to get forward, work passes around the pitch. So both teams still very active here in the final 6 minutes.
Well, and I'm a little confused. I would have expected to see Natalie Mitchell, Tori Powell, and Taylor Price all go back in, because you still have a couple minutes, and Virginia Tech's created some chances, especially if you have Vythen on that left side. She's playing higher up. She can whip the ball in with her left foot. I would have thought we would have seen those front runners come back in.
Well, they also sat out the last 15 minutes or so of the first half and didn't come back in, but now you really need them. You're down by 2, late.
And maybe the thought, too, is that we're going to keep Allie George in because she, created that goal. But usually you see your starting forwards come back in, so I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, it's intriguing. Sometimes, even though it may look like it's just not a certain player's night, when they're that prolific, you want them in there, hoping they can figure things out. Another chance from the left side. This is the way they scored their only goal. That time blocked by Taylor Schellen out as we drop inside of the final 5 minutes now. Miami trying to put this one away, or what would be their biggest win of the season so far, and also their first conference win of the year. There's Jakobsdottir back defending. Jackie Korwitz, against a few different Virginia Tech players, just clears it out. This will be the best sequence for Miami this season. Even though it was a loss, played a pretty solid game in losing 1-0 here last Saturday to number 7 Florida State. Now poised for a victory over number 24 Virginia Tech in pretty convincing fashion as well.
Another
highest
reason
goal
why
output of the year as well, too, Morgan.
Yeah, there's so many wins for Miami within this win if the score stands. But something, too, is they're playing spoiler a bit, because so far Virginia Tech's had a pretty good record in the ACC. obviously dropping the Pitt game, but technically, if the season ended, regular season ended today, Virginia Tech would be in the ACC tournament. But not getting a result and not getting points tonight would kind of put them back in the mix with a bunch of other teams who are fighting to kind of be on the brink for that. Obviously, we have more time to play, but that's why a win would be even more important for Virginia Tech to stay where they're at.
Now, interesting situation here as Virginia Tech's Ella Valente got sandwiched by defenders. No call inside the box. Meantime, Emma Pitting was still down. No call was made. They let the play continue. Here's what happened to Pitting.
And that ball's in the air. It looks like Pitting gets tangled up a little bit. That's two key players for Miami going down in the last few minutes.
And she's really critical to their possession game. She can hold things up, finds the right pass, can slow it down when necessary.
And she's been so dangerous on the dribble, creating in the attacking third. And not to mention only a freshman. So this is the player that is going to continue to improve just with this program. And she could be a key part for them over the next few years, just what she does on the ball and all that she creates for them.
Native of San Diego, and as I mentioned, Valente, while she was down, was kind of hit by two defenders in the box. And I got to be careful. Could have easily been called a penalty. And you make contact like that, and that would have certainly made things interesting here as Megan Morgan, the redshirt freshman from Weston, Florida, comes back in. A Miami area high school player of the year and transfer from Florida State. Just playing against her former school a week ago. She had the corner kick that set up the first Miami goal in the first half of play. Now Jakobsdottir for Morgan. Well, winding down the final minutes here. Miami poised to snap a 5-game losing streak and win their first ACC game of the season, while Virginia Tech is going to lose a 3-game winning streak and also lose for the first time on the road this season. Trailing 3-1 here. And about to drop what would be just their 3rd game overall this season, after losses also to Pitt and number 4 South Carolina. South and 2 minutes left to go. How would you size it all up, Morgan, the way this game unfolded here tonight, and what's going to really stick out with you here at the end?
I think Virginia Tech was their own downfall. I think all 3 of those goals were caused by their own mistakes, but you have to credit Miami. It's not easy to capitalize on another team's mistakes. Even if they give you the ball in a dangerous area, you still have to finish it. And Miami did that tonight. So credit to them for being prepared, taking advantage of their moments, and they won the ball in the dangerous areas. That's what they knew they had to do. So credit to Miami. Getting a result against a ranked opponent in the ACC, it's a really big win for them. Virginia Tech has to regroup and refocus. They have Clemson this weekend. That's going to be a difficult game. Clemson's looking for results themselves. So for Tech, can they get healthy? Can they regroup? Can they be on the same page? Because I don't think the energy they started the game with was matched across the whole field, and I think they really only had about 20 minutes of really good soccer. It wasn't their best, but good soccer. So how can they get that back in their next game?
This could be a one-off for Virginia Tech, but for Miami, do you sense this might be the beginning of something building for them here in the final month of the season?
I do, especially because they knew after the Florida State game that was a confidence builder because of the performance that they had. They didn't get a point, they didn't get the result they wanted, but the performance was more of what they wanted. And tonight, they're getting the result and they have more of the performance they wanted. There's still areas to clean up, but for sure, it's a huge confidence builder, and I think we'll see more momentum from them because they've been needing a big win to really get that going, and that's what they got tonight.
Again, Miami came into the night with only 6 goals in the entire season. They got half that total in this game alone, and they get a huge win. Their first ACC victory of the season with a 3-1 win over number 24 Virginia Tech. First victory over a ranked opponent in 3 years. Virginia Tech loses for the first time on the road this season. Miami snapping a 5-game losing streak.